Today we're going to talk about shadow self and ego self, which is very heavily linked to mindset and limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome. And for those of you that weren't here before, the imposter syndrome is kind of a frame of mind and a mentality which kind of tells you that you don't deserve to be where you are, even if you've got the right accolades, even if you've got the right experiences. You've kind of always had this thing in the back of your mind that tells you that you're not good enough and you're not worth it. You don't deserve to be in the position that you're in. And then we're going to talk about shifting your mindset to cultivate abundance. And then if there's any questions, we'll have a chat. Next slide, please. So just to recap for the ladies that weren't here before, I know there's a couple of new faces. Last time we spoke about mindset and defining what mindset was. We spoke about our legacy and what is our why, because I strongly believe that in order to thrive in everything that we do, we need to have a why and we need to have a purpose. We also looked at what imposter syndrome looks like as a business owner, but just as an individual as well. And then the last thing we looked at is what we were releasing. So at the end of the last session, we kind of had a suitcase and we threw everything in there that we wanted to let go of from the last session. So next slide, please. So what I love to do, you guys know that I love interaction. So what I kind of wanted to do before we venture any further is to do an exercise. And what this exercise is looking at one experience, one strength and one hope that is linked to your mindset and linked to your self-belief. So an experience that you've had around mindset in the past that could be good or bad, a strength that my echoing.
You were, but you stopped now. I don't know if that was you or someone else bouncing back off you. Carry on.
A strength that's come from it, and then a hope that you have in the future. Because what this really does is look at the journey that you've come to get to this stage today, really look at a strength and something that you're really good at, and then kind of a manifestation, an affirmation, and a goal that you want to achieve for the future. And now, mindfully, we've got a few of us, so it might not be that everybody shares today, but if we could have a couple of women that could maybe start, that'd be amazing. And if you need to explain again, I'm happy to do so.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, so I'll give you my example. So my experience with mindset is that I spoke about this recently, but I went through something called the Dark Night of Soul, which I spoke to you ladies about last time, where I kind of lost my purpose. I was in very much cultivating a victimhood mindset, which really kind of preempted everything that I did in my life. So that's my experience with mindset previously. I've now switched to an abundant mindset where I'm able to kind of see the positives in everything and kind of really pick out why these things have happened for me. I'd say that one of my strengths is now seeing the best in other people and really picking out what their strength is and why that's different to somebody else. And then my hope is that I can kind of touch the lives and touch the hearts of other women who truly need to have that little pick me up.
That's so great.
So yeah, so if anybody would love to share, I know it's a lot that I'm asking, but I think it just allows you to kind of reflect where you've been and where you're going.
Does anyone have anything that's coming to mind? I can do one if not, but I feel like I'm always looking to the person who does something. Does anyone else have something they'd like to share first?
Even if it's just one thing that you can think of, it might just be that it's an experience, or it's a strength, or it's a hope. And you don't have to
mind going, as I'm new to the group.
Hi.
So I'm going to relate it to my new business, but from an experience point of view, I guess, well, actually, I would say motherhood. As a geriatric mum in my 40s, I guess my experience wasn't how I expected it to be. It was quite a negative start because of COVID. I don't know. I don't think I had postnatal depression, but I have a toddler who doesn't sleep, so my health really took a hit. Lack of sleep, lack of self-care, prioritization, etc. But at the same time, I was studying to be a health coach, studying nutrition, and then so I guess the strength was the knowledge that I was acquiring, and then knowing how to implement it on myself, rather than just giving the advice to others. And then hope is that I can tap into that area and help other mothers or anyone in that same situation to focus on their self, prioritize their health and nutrition and self-care really, and reach out to people to make sure that, well, make sure other people reach out and talk up when they're not feeling great, and that it's okay, as we all say, it's okay not to be okay. But like, I really didn't enjoy a lot of, well, I really haven't enjoyed a big chunk of my first 2 years of motherhood. And it's not this magical Instagram feed that you see all the time of these smiles and flowers and everything. And I think it's kind of okay to have a negative experience and talk about it rather than, and I don't know why nobody talks about it, because it was a massive shock for me at how difficult it was being a mum. I guess COVID didn't help, but I'm sure everyone has difficult experiences, but not everyone talks about it, especially when you're looking at Instagram feeds. I don't know if that was what I was meant to say.
No, I absolutely love that. And there's so much to talk all day, but I'm really trying to keep this concise. But there's so many different points that you kind of pointed out. I'll just go through quickly. The first thing you're saying about going through that, well, you don't know if it was depression, but you know, you knew yourself as Marie, but you didn't know yourself as a mom. So it's really learning who you are as a mom, isn't it? And trying to make sure that you can separate the two and kind of navigate through it. And something else she said as well, that it's really hard to ask for help as a new mom. And I don't know if the ones that follow me on Instagram, I did put a post up yesterday to talk about validating your emotions and that it's okay and no one's allowed to tell you how to feel. You know, really sitting with your thoughts and making sure that you're soothing yourself and you know your own love language. So that's such an amazing point, and I wholeheartedly agree, having 2 boys myself. Have you got a hope, Marie, for the future?
I guess the hope is that I can help other people in that situation or encourage them to speak out and be more honest about how they're feeling and not to hide behind social media, like saying it's all okay, and to just to be honest and speak out and not feel uncomfortable about it. And I kind of felt obliged to be really happy because I went through like 3 years of IVF. And I felt like I had to be so appreciative that I actually had a baby, rather than say, actually, do you know, it's a bit shit and I'm not enjoying it. So I just want to give hope that other people don't feel like they can't be honest about it.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you.
Did you want anyone else, Paris? Because I can do one, but I don't have to either if you want. It's up to you.
No, does anybody? No, go for it. And this is a safe space. And as I said, I am going to shift through the presentation a bit, but this is really about interacting and having that space to talk about how you feel. So I really invite this section.
Okay. I do mine swiftly. All I was going to say was that I set up a second company when Arthur was just 2 years old. He's my youngest, which is a Positive Family Academy, and quite a few people have heard of that because I knew you guys when I was doing it, and it was something I was really passionate about, and in some ways it was really successful, but it was far too much for me. I had sort of 3 young children. One of them was still a toddler, wasn't sleeping, and so basically it was just too much. It was so overwhelming. But that experience of trying to navigate something pretty much all alone made me realize, obviously I had strengths. I actually quite relished failing because it taught me so many lessons. Actually, one thing it really taught me was that I like collaborating. I don't like working on my own. And that's partly why I set up the village, because I think it's so important, because so many people, these little islands, and you can get so consumed and so lonely running your own business. And a bit like Marie was saying, Instagram can make everyone else's businesses look so shiny and so successful and everything else. And it's exhausting because you just like, it can always feel a bit like you're not doing enough. And it's also such a hungry beast, isn't it, Instagram? You can feed it. But the next day it's fucking gone. You're like, oh God, I've got to start again. And so again, my hope really is that women, not only it could be men too, but collaboration is something that everyone values and realizes how nice it is to interact rather than being, like I say, these little islands on their own. So a failure of a business led me to realize what actually was important to me. So there you go.
Absolutely love that. And you say it was a failure of business, but it's made you who you are today in your business, who it is today. So it's never a failure, always a learning curve.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to share?
I'll go. I'm new as well, so I feel like I should
Thanks, Becca.
contribute. Yeah, so I'm in a kind of a weird place in my life at the moment, I guess. I've got my daughter, my first child, who's 15 months. So like Maria, it was mid-COVID, and I found it very challenging, and I've had to do a lot of looking at like myself and my life and what was working for me and what wasn't. And I've also, I mean, this is all over social media and things at the moment, but I discovered this year as well that I have ADHD, that apparently I was told I had as a child, but no one reminded me of it as an adult. So I've had all these things that I've struggled with my whole life, and I always just thought it was because of like some faults with me, rather than this thing that actually I just needed to learn how to think differently and kind of work in a way that fitted me rather than what everyone else was telling me it should fit. Yeah. And I've always kind of vaguely known what I want out of a job and career and what I want my purpose to be, but I've had a lot of issues like fine-tuning it down to what it's really you know what I'm trying to say, like getting it kind of focused as to be something like an action. So I did something that was very techie and I was an electronic engineer and stuff like that before, and it just wasn't like emotionally satisfying. It was intellectually satisfying, it was well paid, I liked the people I work with, but I always felt like something was missing. So I did a lot of volunteer work, ended up working in the NHS as well. I've worked in healthcare for a while, and then joined the ambulance service, which is what I do now, as well as my business. But it was having my daughter that made me kind of realize that actually like birth work and pregnancy and postnatal stuff is really what I wanted to focus on, partly due to my own experiences and how difficult I found everything with COVID. But it's like, as cheesy as this is going to sound, it's almost like having my daughter was like a rebirth for me as well, because I just feel like a completely different person. So I just had to really, like, almost everything about my life I've had to change, because it just didn't work with a kid, and I've kind of just become a bit more accepting of myself and the way my brain works. So it's just trying to get the rest of my ducks in a line. That kind of makes any sense.
No, that's an absolutely beautiful testimony, and like listening to your story, actually it is a rebirth, because you've had your child, you've realized that you've got ADHD later on in life, and you've been able to kind of recreate and manifest this new person, and you're still smiling, you know, so
mostly.
That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. So if nobody else wants to share, are we okay to move on?
You're on the next slide.
Yeah, I know that last time I took so much of your time, so I'm so mindful today.
You really don't worry. Shall I go on to the next slide?
Yes, please. So, note to self, you owe it to yourself to address your traumas, your barriers, and your limiting beliefs that are preventing you from ascending. And this will pave the way for generational happiness, generational healing, and generational fulfillment. Now, you're probably wondering what this has to do with business, what this has to do with mindset. And that is because addressing your traumas will allow you to be the best version of yourself. Okay, this is the foundation. We've often been taught to kind of suppress our emotions and put a lid on it. And it goes back to the analogy that I drawed upon last time when I said, you know, in our house, we all have this drawer, don't we, that we throw stuff in, we shut it, and we completely forget about it. But it's really about addressing the dark parts of ourselves. And also, when I talk about generational happiness and generational healing, it's about our kids. I know a lot of us here are mothers, but the way that we think and program our mindset then has a ripple effect on our kids and their ability to deal with situations as they grow up as well. It also informs the people that we attract, the people that we have around us, and whether that's family and whether that's friends. And it's really important to understand that when you realize the magic of your voice, you will honestly transform and change the way that you speak to yourself. Because as I said before, your brain doesn't know the difference as to when you're joking. So when you're embracing this imposter syndrome or you're embracing these limiting beliefs, you are telling your brain that you are not good enough. So we really want to start reframing it. You know, and when you understand the magic of your mind, you'll start to reprogram it, because your thoughts and your mind is so powerful. So it's about really starting to look at that and really seeing how we can reframe it and think about the way that we think about the narratives that we create in our head. Next slide for me, please. So this is the juicy part. This is about ego and shadow self. Now, I don't know if many of you heard of the ego versus the shadow self.
No.
Or is this quite new to everybody? Oh, that's good then. So the ego self is what we show the world. This is all about perception. So when we wake up in the morning, what dress do we put on? How do we do our hair? What do we show the world? How do we talk? How do we look? And it kind of goes back to Instagram, doesn't it? Those tiny little beautiful squares is what we decide to show the world. It's the best of us. It's what we want to show on our good days when life's going well. And, you know, 0 to 7 is a very crucial age in child development. You know, our carers taught us when we were younger, very basic principles. And I'm sure you remember when you was younger, some of the things that your parents used to say, like, be kind, don't be selfish. You know, selfishness is looked upon and frowned upon in society, isn't it? So, you know, we kind of lock that away in a dark room and we don't visit it again. You know, because we want to focus on the ego and what society tells us that we have to look like, what we have to do. And we focus on being good people. So therefore, we're always programmed to be in ego mode. So it's about relearning who we really are. And that's why being in ego mode all the time often leads to limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, because we're thinking about how we need to be through the lens of society. So, you know, like there's a lot of things that we've been told, and often we don't live in alignment with who we are because of that, because we are following those societal values. Whereas the shadow self, and that lies between our hidden, it's hidden and suppressed in our subconscious and our unconscious. It's the side that nobody sees. So the shadow perception often comes from the things that we were taught when we were younger, you know, through ACEs. And what ACEs is adverse childhood experiences that we have when we were younger, whether that's trauma, whether that's any abuse that we may have faced, and also historical events that have happened in our life. Now, if you notice, when your mind is programmed in a lack mindset, when events happen in your life, you will always replay out in the same way. So the result will always be the same. The outcome will always be the same. It will always be in lack, because that's how we've been programmed to kind of navigate through things. So what we really need to look at is revisiting and stopping the pattern in its tracks, and really looking how we can switch that into a state of abundance. So imagine you are in a huge mansion and the lights are off. Every single room has lights off, but you've got a candle, and you're walking in each room and you're walking around, and every room you go in, it's lighting up and you're uncovering a little bit of a part of yourself that you've never seen before. That is that shadow self. It's uncovering it, and often you don't know what that shadow self is. You don't know that side of you because, like I said, you've kind of forced it and you've put it to one side, and you're scared to uncover it. Like, I know that for me, there's a lot of things that I'm still uncovering that I don't know about myself. And one of those main things was the fact that I am a very deep empath. I kind of feel the emotions of the other. So at the moment, we've got a collective overwhelm because we've got a global pandemic. So that really affects me, and I carry the weight of other people on my shoulders, and that's my shadow self. And I never really wanted to kind of address that. But now I know it's my shadow self. I'm using it to create abundance, and not only abundance for myself, but abundance for the people that are around me. And that's through therapy and that's through coaching. But it's understanding your love language. So say, for instance, you are an empath and you do feel the emotions of other people. It's knowing what you need to do then to switch off and soothe yourself moving forward. And that's the same as, you know, for the parents that are here as well. It's understanding that you are an empath, and you energetically, there's going to be times when you're drained. But what is your love language? Like, think for a second. What do you do to soothe yourself when energetically you're feeling low? You know, when you've gone into one of those rooms in that mansion with a candle and you've lit a part of yourself that you didn't know, it's a darker side to you that you're having to address. How do you then soothe yourself? So it's about really understanding what your love language is. And it might be that you come away and you think, actually, I don't know what my love language is. Is it going out in nature? Is it going on a spa day? Is it journaling? But once you start to understand what your love language is, you can then start to uncover more of that shadow side, you know, and then that has a ripple effect on the people that are around you, because you'll find that once you start to uncover it and you really start to address those sides to yourself, you are a walking torch. You vibrate high, and that's just not for the people that are around you, that's for your children, and in turn how they will navigate into adulthood themselves. I hope that makes sense. Okay, next slide, please. So, how can you cultivate a positive mindset? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to reframe the negative thoughts and challenge that imposter syndrome. And again, we spoke about this last time in the last workshop. It's really reframing. So looking at what evidence do I have that backs up the feelings that I have at the moment. How many times have these negative beliefs actually come to fruition? So it's looking at past situations to see whether that's actually happened. And then also there's a few things that you can do. So what I tend to do is I have 3 different ways that I can reframe my thoughts straight away. And the first thing is, I have to do this. So rather than saying I have to do this, saying I get to do this. So this often happens when I wake up in the morning and I have to get up for work. Actually, it's not that I have to, I'm making a choice to get up and go to work because I understand the wider picture. I understand that actually this is feeding my wider goals. And when I get home, I have the love for my business. So it's helping me to financially kind of plan that. So I've got the choice to wake up and do that. So it's really switching your mindset. I have to do this to I get to do this. Another one is this happened for me, rather than this happened to me. Sorry, this happened to me to this happened for me. Now, a typical example of that is a few years back, I had quite a significant car crash. And what happened was I was driving down the motorway, just had my hands free, I was talking to my partner, and a lady literally came from nowhere. She spun and she crashed into my car. So I was on the M25 actually towards Essex. And so my car was facing in the opposite direction and cars were just skimming the back end of my car. And I remember a couple of weeks before that, I bought a brand new car. I'd saved up so hard, bought this car, and it crashed. So straight away, I stepped into victimhood mindset. Why does this happen to me? I don't understand. Why do these things happen to me? Like, why couldn't she crash into somebody else? Like, these were all thoughts that were going on in my head. But what I later realised was that this woman was having a heart attack. Now, this is a woman that lives by herself in a home. So if she would have had a heart attack anywhere else, it would have meant that maybe she wouldn't have got the immediate support and medical attention that she actually needed at the time. So at that point, I realised that that didn't happen to me, but it happened for me. And it didn't only happen for me, it happened for the lady who was having a heart attack, because the response to her medical needs was phenomenal. And then the other thing that I realised was that my car actually had a major engine fault, which I wasn't aware of. And had I have driven it any further, I don't know what would have happened. But that's when they carried out the vehicle fault. They saw that there was something wrong. So at that point, that's when I started to shift. Actually, this is not happening to me. This is happening for me. So it's really about switching the mindset again. And then the last one is, I'm not I can't do it, but I am in the process of doing it. So that could be, at the moment, you may have a business where you're worried. It might be that you're worried to go live. It might be worried that you're scared to host a group. It might be that you're worried to show your offering, show your prices, because you think they might be too expensive. But it's about being in the process of working towards those goals. You know, you're not quite there yet, but you're working towards it. And every single thing that you do is setting you up to be able to achieve that bigger goal. Next slide, please.
Did I go the wrong way?
Oh, yeah.
Hang on a minute, I've got myself muddled up.
That's fine, keep going. There, oh, get that one. And then this is just literally, I don't know if you want to take a picture of it, but this is the main mindset shift that I tend to adapt. And it's this happened to me, and change that to this happened for me. And honestly, I know it sounds so cheesy and so cliche, but adopt it to all the situations where you think, you know, it's so easy to step into that victimhood. So when you get to that point, try and switch it and reframe it. And it really tends to work for me. If you could go to the next slide, please. So this is another exercise that one of the last exercises that I'd like us to do, and it's about writing a note to yourself and sealing it with a promise. Now this, I'd like to be business focused. Are we all business? Are we all business here?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's got a side business, that's fine. So I want you to write a promise to yourself that you are going to achieve in the next 3 months, and I want you to seal it with a promise. Now I might not be here when you revisit it, but I'd love if you could revisit it in this group in the next 3 months' time and really hold yourselves accountable to this promise. And I know that you all follow each other and I follow you as well, so it's really about kind of encouraging each other and saying, no, how are you getting on with that? Do you need support? It's really lonely being a business owner, so it's about accountability and, like I said, cheering each other to the top, because we're all going to make it. So if you can think of a promise, you don't have to share it. If you could share it, it's amazing, because it does help with accountability. And then we can kind of take it from there. I can start with what I think my promise should be. So I would like to roll out a self-love workshop in the next 3 months. God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Actually, I have to be held accountable now. So yes, so I'm going to seal that with a promise. I'd love for there to be around 10 women in it, and maybe be around half a day. So that's what I'd like to do next for Journal to Dreams. Linda, seeing as I can see you on my screen, would you like to share?
I'm just smiling, but that sounded lovely. Weirdly, I was talking about this today, via WhatsApp messages, because that's how I roll. I want to do some more in-person workshops, like a bit like you said, like a one-off thing. So it's not like it's a rolling out every week thing. I run quite a lot of workshops, but I'd like to do 2. One for pregnant women and one for women, not non-pregnant women, or pregnant if they want, all around giving them some time out, but with some real sort of restorative qualities. So I was talking to Vicky about this today, who's on this call to Yoga with Vicky, to include some yoga and some really nourishing food, and just like 2 or 3 hours of like really awesome company and just nice little bits and pieces. So there you go, that's what I'd like to do.
And can I come? Because I really want to come and see you all in Essex. Yeah. You are all in Essex over there. I'm going to come. I can't see who's next on my screen.
Louise is under you on my one.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks for that, Linda.
Shall I stop sharing for it so we can see each other?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's such a tiny little. There we go. I can see you all now.
Yeah, so kind of similar theme, really. I've kind of toyed with it for a while about doing a kind of group session of some sort. So like an online course or some sort of group session, working with people about how to sort of structure their life and get more balance in and organize, but equally bringing in different bits. So yeah. I'm being really vague, aren't I? Yeah, no, I think that I'd like to have even like just doing like an online course or something that is like a evergreen thing that would just be there, to have something like that in place, and then looking to do kind of spin-off group sessions.
No, I love that. I'm all about the interaction. It's so difficult, isn't it, doing it over Zoom, because you don't really get I love the face-to-face and like really networking. So yeah, I'm all for that, and hopefully we'll be able to do it now that the restrictions are easing a little bit.
I would like to say in 3 months' time that I've launched my new studio, which would be great. I've just had planning permission come through. Trying to find a builder for love or money isn't happening at the moment. But I'm really excited that once my studio can launch, I can then hold some workshops in there for my product photography. That's my sort of long-term goal. So fingers crossed.
That's amazing. You'll smash it. 3 months, you've got this.
Thank you.
Nicola,
I'm trying to talk over anybody. Should I just let people volunteer, or do you want me to like nominate? I don't know. Nobody has to. Okay, Lena, you look like you're leaning forwards a bit, and you've got a really nice yellow top on.
I know, I like that up actually. I love a bit of yellow.
No, got my jumper dress out today, so it's cold.
Oh, nice.
I'll be honest, I can't really commit to anything at the moment in my business because I've got quite a lot going on in my personal life. So business at the moment is kind of survive. The only thing I can really think of is I have been toying, because I'm so busy at the moment with my business, toying with maybe getting some kind of support in running my business, whether that be hiring a cleaner to come and clean my house to actually give me time to do it, or getting someone to come and just help me with things things that, so I do the sewing, and maybe if someone comes and helps me with some of the more straightforward cutting out, photography and packing and that stuff. But I can't, other than that, I can't really commit to anything else at the moment.
I think, yeah, it's all about delegation though, isn't it, Lena? Like, you know, you want to focus on the front line and the hands-on, so where you can delegate, do that. And you say that you're busy, but you're really showing up on Instagram. I love seeing all your bright colours and your posts, and I love the Christmas stuff you've got coming. I think I saw a reindeer earlier. Did I see a reindeer?
It's so tricky at the moment. Okay, so I will share what's going on in my personal life at the moment. So on Friday, my dad got diagnosed with cancer. So although, yes, I am trying to keep on top of all the Instagram stuff and get my orders and things done, I'm trying not to commit to too much because I don't want to overdo it. So yeah.
Well, I can understand that, and you know, we're all here to help. Like this is like a community. It's an amazing community. So please reach out. Like if it's a chat with anyone, just please, like we're all here to support you. So don't feel like you have to suffer by yourself, or you know, sometimes it's just a space to talk about how you feel. Like please reach out. You know, because you're always smiling, so you make us smile. So we want to help you as well when you need it.
Thank you.
I was going to say, sorry, I was such a big mouth always. What I was going to say was absolutely use us as well. So if you're like, guys, like I'm really defining this hard, has anyone got a couple of hours to come and pack for me? Some of us might absolutely be able to do that. They might have to bring a child with them, but you know, or we could come in swipes and stuff. So like that's the point, isn't it? That's what I was talking about before, about the whole collaboration thing. It's such an important element because so many of us can feel so isolated and overwhelmed, but actually we probably don't need to. And I think that's something I was talking really briefly to Jen, again on a voice note earlier, about how I would like this to be more than it is, and I need to put more into it myself to achieve that. But absolutely, Lena, like just like send a little flag out, help me.
And we'll be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I have been thinking about. But yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, I can keep carrying on with everything. But it's a bit of a long story, but basically 3 years ago, my dad had a brain tumor that got removed. So I'm trying to, that was very, very hard. And I'm trying to get through it this time without having to go through therapy, which is what I had to do after the last thing. So I'm just learning. I'm learning from what I learned last time, which was I need to ask for help, and I need to talk about things and not bottle things up. So I am trying to share. I did kind of say something on Instagram about it the other day, that I've got quite a lot going on, but I don't want to come out and say it on my Instagram page. But yeah, I am trying to be more open about it this time than how I dealt with it last time, to avoid the therapy.
Nice that there's a space that's been created where you feel comfortable enough to share it, and I don't know about the rest of the ladies, but I feel honoured that you felt comfortable to share that. Like, is there anything else in the here and the now that we can do to help?
Not really. It's nice to know that I have got other people to talk to, because obviously I have told my close friends, and we're gradually starting to tell everyone again. But yeah, it is quite hard. But yeah.
Sending loads of love and light.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shall I nominate the next person, or do people want to say shout themselves? It's really hard to know.
Nicola's dying too. I can just see it in her eyes.
Nicola, go.
Is she on mute?
Oh, I think you're on mute, Nicola. Oh.
Oh.
You're off mute, but we can't hear you, Nicola.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh.
Can you type it?
You could always log in and log out again quickly, because often that helps. Just jogs it wherever the glitch is. Okay. Should we go around? How about you, Vicky? Vicky Button. In her spa outfit.
Yeah, excuse the pajamas. I was just so
cozy. You look so cozy.
I don't know. I think maybe just to try and make my new mini buttons classes a success. I think I'm going through like those doubt stages at the moment. I came home on Monday and I was a little bit deflated and said to my husband, out of the 2 different types of classes I'm running, these are the ones that I'm putting all my effort into and spending a lot of time and money on resources, and they're the ones I've got the least amount of clients for at the moment. But he kind of put me straight and said, yeah, but think back to a few years ago when your sound buttons classes were your new ones. You had the same feelings then. It just takes time to build it up. So I suppose my promise to myself is to not think negatively and not give up just because I've got low numbers at the moment, and just keep working positively to make it a success. So yeah.
Is that absolutely no, that's amazing. Reframing those thoughts, and like your offering is amazing. Like I see all like, you know, the goodie bags and the different things that you have, and when I hear button, I'm like straight away I think of the pink button in your logo because it just stands out so much. So you are showing up and people are definitely noticing, so keep going.
Thank you. And Lena, my little Molly wore your leggings today. She looks lovely in them. I am going to tag you on one of my posts. I just keep forgetting, but yeah, they were lovely.
How about other Vicky Stevenson?
Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Just check I'm not just talking. And so yeah, I think my price would probably be around social media. I kind of have issues around it and I feel really uncomfortable posting. And I think with my business, I was saying last time, so I've had 2 really intense years of studying to be a yoga therapist, which I finished in July. And I've done absolutely no advertising around it because it was so intense, and I got to the end of it and I was like, I just need to step back and pause for a little bit and enjoy that break, which I've been doing. And it's funny sometimes how the universe works, isn't it? I've been referred clients by physios and different, so client base is growing, but I haven't yet been doing my own advertising around it. So I kind of feel that that's what I need to start doing. So I've got such a fear around posting on social media, and yeah, so I need to try and get over that and do some posts.
That's amazing. And just remember that we use social media as a tool to get clients. The very fact that you're able to do that without even have to be on social media is absolutely amazing. And you know, your qualification isn't going anywhere, so don't feel pressured that you have to always show up. You know, just do it when you feel comfortable, because it does need to flow effortlessly. So if you're getting clients and you're working through it and you're creating those results, and that's absolutely fine, and just flow with it and just take your time, because it can be really daunting and posting on Instagram and posting your offer. But no, that's amazing. If you need support with it, please let me know. I'm always on it. I think I messaged you the other day, didn't I? But yeah, but if you need support, please let me know. I'll get Canva out and I'll help you with the posts and stuff like that. I'm a pro at it now, so yeah, please shout out if you need any help.
I think sometimes this takes time too, doesn't it? Because like you say, you've only just finished and it was so intense, and it's not the same. But I completed a course this year on critical illness. It's called the 3-step rewind, which is birth trauma and releasing it. And it's taken me a long time. I haven't offered it really out at all. I'm still kind of working through case studies and stuff because I don't quite feel ready. And I think you'll get to the point where you're like, do you know what? I really want to talk about this a lot more now. I'm not at that point. So I'm just saying I get it.
I think we need to pause and process sometimes, don't we, rather than rushing straight into it quickly.
And that's a good intention in itself, isn't it? Allowing that to happen and for it to flow, because we don't always, life is too busy. So yeah, pausing is very important.
100%. I'm sure I remember last time, Vicky, you saying that you did your course, you've got a little one, so you've achieved absolutely loads. So, you know, it goes back to kind of honouring what you've been through and really just kind of giving yourself credit for how much you've achieved to date. You know, not being hard on yourself at all the things that you need to do, but all the things that you have achieved already.
Exactly. How about Amy?
Yeah, so really similar actually to you, Vicky and Linda, because I got my qualification as a hypnotherapist, which again, I just feel like it's been at least 2 years and really intense. But it was almost a bit flat. I was excited, but I just haven't really told many people. And I think I felt like I just needed a bit of a break, which I sort of took over August. And then from September, I've carved out a day a week where I can dedicate to that. So my 3-month promise is I will launch that business in 3 months' time, and that's going to be the sort of focus. But yeah, I've definitely felt that need to just take stock a little bit and get ready mentally, I think, for it.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Well done, Amy. That's fantastic. It's amazing.
It is like, oh gosh, I always say this group vibrates so high. I just love being here.
Keep coming back.
I'm actually going to join.
Marie, I don't know if you want to come back in. I feel like I'm picking on you because
that's right. The new person. So I guess because I only launched a few months ago, I've kind of like pushed myself to do social media, and it was massively out of my comfort zone. But I feel like I signed up today with for a 12-month business coach plan to really, I guess, find my feet, because I think, well, I've been told like a million times now I need to have a niche, and what otherwise you can't target your audience. And everything I was doing was, well, I'm too generic at the moment. So even if you did search-ins for nutritional health coach, that people are looking for something you specialize in. So I think within the next 3 months, hopefully the business coaching starts next week. So I hope to zone in on a niche, and I've got I have to address my pricing model, because I've undervalued myself, shock horror, and just need to work out again, like the packages I offer. So I've had some feedback around that. So there's some, I guess, like mistakes that you have to make at the beginning, because I don't really I have like 3 clients. I know it's a slow burner anyway when you do programs and like 3-month programs and things. So I think I just need to kind of work out who I am and who I'm targeting, and just make sure I'm charging the right amount of money to and not treat it as a hobby and just really have a bit of faith and grow a pair basically, and just get stuck in.
That's you wasn't in the last session, but that's the main thing that we spoke about, like what does imposter syndrome look like for business owners, and that was one of the things, underselling ourselves, selling ourselves short. So that I think we'd all agree that we can do that.
Someone came along and just said, if you do this and this and this is currently what your hours per your cost you're earning per hour. And she was like, do you really want to earn that? How much study you put into this? I'm like, no, I don't. But it's like all the prep that goes into it, and it's just so hard to see. I don't know, it's the pricing is so hard to do.
No, that's amazing. And the whole niche situation, I think I only found my niche probably, like, I'm still finding it really. I feel like people just tell me what they need, and like if it fits, it fits, and if it doesn't. But that's a big one, isn't it? It's a big one, that niche.
Paris, was it you that put recently about that your business might not be different to everyone else, but your story is?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You have to have a specific niche, or is it just about how you come across and how you present yourself?
And that's what I think. I think like this, you can have a brand, but ultimately it's you that people are buying into. So if you show up as authentic, they tend to you attract the right people to your business. Because I think people aren't really buying Journal to Dreams, they're actually buying into Paris. So show up and just be yourself, and you can't go wrong with that. That's my advice.
How about you, Bethan? I'm going along my screen. Sorry, you're like, oh God.
No, that's okay. I just had a panic about where the mute button was because I'm using a different computer to normal, so it all looks different. I'm very new at this because I sort of did all the training and things while I was on maternity leave. So I think I've kind of got like a general goal and then something specific I can action. And the first one is like just to remain authentic to myself and not try and fit in with other people that offer similar services, and kind of not deliberately, but like I don't want to accidentally start to like emulate other people just because I think that's what I should be, and kind of just try and make sure that I stick with what I want to do. And because otherwise there's people already doing that, so I want to sort of try and stay a bit more authentic to me. But my like actionable goal is I need to put my big girl pants on and start doing video content. I've sort of been doing social media posts and things like that. I've grown to love Canva and despise it at the same time, but I think it's the video content that I'm kind of the most nervous about, so I'm gonna just bite the bullet and just do it.
What's your business, Bethan?
So primarily I've just qualified as a hypnobirthing instructor, so I do that, but also like pregnancy relaxation. And because of my job in the NHS and the emergency work I do, I'm also going to do paediatric first aid support for parents, not like to certify people, but just and the kind of the ultimate goal is to kind of have a sort of a pre-pregnancy, pregnancy and post-pregnancy kind of almost like a pack you can kind of do, and I know it's a thing that a lot of people do, but I found a lot of the people that work in the hypnobirthing side of things are fantastic, but they've got their niche. But I struggled to find someone that that's the wrong phrasing, I've lost what I'm saying, that sort of fitted in with me and my personality and my beliefs. So I figure there must be other people out there that also struggle to find something that kind of bridges the gap between medical and holistic, rather than trying to alienate either side. So it's trying to kind of find that balance. If that's yeah.
It makes perfect sense. From a fellow hypnobirthing teacher, it makes perfect sense.
Fabulous. I'm glad I'm not just talking waffle.
Well, I've never heard of the two bridging together, so that'll be really interesting to see how it delivers. That's really
I've noticed a lot of the time you get sort of medical professionals. I've had paramedics say, oh my god, doulas, oh, they're the worst. And I've had hypnobirthing instructors say sort of, you're going to have a battle with the midwives every time, and I just want to like get rid of that. None of this them and us, have it, we all want women to have positive experiences. So it's just about, if anyone has any suggestions or any ideas about way of saying female empowerment without excluding the trans community as well, I would really appreciate that input, because my big passion is like women's health, but I don't want to exclude anyone.
It's got very complicated, hasn't it?
So,
I hear you.
If anyone happens to have any suggestions, that would be great, because at the moment I'm kind of like going with like female chromosome health and that's just weird. So I just, anyone has some ideas.
No, it's fine. We will have another meeting in between this meeting and the next meeting, that makes sense. And so that'll be much more of a chance to offload and like bang, but you know, bounce around and stuff. So definitely come, and then we can talk further. Thank you. Sorry, Paris, I feel like I've taken over then by mistake.
No, it's fine. It's fine. This is just the end, just to kind of have the promise. So on my end, I'm kind of just listening to you guys talk about what your promises are. It's really nice to hear that everyone's got so many aspirations and goals. Jen, we've not heard from you.
Hey guys, sorry, I've been quite quiet tonight. I found this quite difficult to do, and before I start, I completely agree about like niche is just ever evolving, and you don't have to have like an actual defined niche necessarily. You just have to start somewhere, and often a good place to start is someone that's just a few steps behind you. So like with your business, Marie, maybe like someone that is a few, like where you were a year ago or where you were 2 years ago, or whatever. But anyway, that's a side note. I struggled with this because I'm really nervous about the thing that I've written down. I don't really know if it's the right thing. It's not necessarily going to drive my business forward necessarily, but I really want to write a book, and I have started, and I've written like an intro chapter. So my promise is I'm going to write a chapter each week over the next 3 months somehow.
What's your book on?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's all about like, it's like life lessons I've learned, like stories that I've got to share, and it's all about just living what I consider to be like a happy life and just a balanced life. But I don't, I'm kind of nervous about it though, so I'm scared about putting it out there.
That's the order.
You've done it, Paris, so you might have to give me some tips.
Oh, that's amazing. That's such a good achievement. You're going to feel amazing once it's all out and you've done it and you can read it back.
Well, yeah, hope so.
It's really exciting. I'd say, like, don't be despondent if you can't quite do a chapter a week. That seems quite a big challenge. Like,
I was going to say half a chapter, but then I was like, yeah, so maybe half a chapter. We'll see.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I can't wait to read it.
I can't wait.
Hopefully it's going to be written.
Positivity, reframe, quick.
Reframe.
I am going to have it finished for you all to read
by next week.
I'll have to put a poll out there on the group on like titles for the book, actually, because that might be really helpful.
Yeah. Sounds awesome. How about you, Debbie? Just the Spot Reflexology, Debbie.
Hang on. Can you hear me there?
You're in.
I'm on my phone, so my screen is terrible at the moment. I'm sort of struggling to come up with a definite idea, sort of thought, because there's so many things. I'm in a very embryonic stage, so to speak, of wanting to expand and do a few other courses, with the view of branching out a bit from reflexology. So I mean, obviously my passion is reflexology, but it's trying to get, when I started with a very I call it a clinical point of view, if you could say that, with reflexology, where you push this part of your foot, and that represents a, sorry, this is all very boring waffle, but I'm just giving you the background. And I've become more and more holistically sort of, I've gotten a lot more energetically minded. So, I pick up on people's energy and so forth a lot more. And so it's thinking about expanding that. And I don't know if it's too early to say whether it's going to be diverting to more sort of healing work, or, where I'm going. So my thing for the next few months is to actually explore exactly what I want to do and hopefully get there with it. So, just with branching out a bit, I think. So, because I absolutely love what I do, but I do feel like I need to add something, but I don't quite know what it is yet. So I will be exploring that, really. So, yeah.
I'm going to do my Googles on reflexology after this, so I can understand it a little bit more. Sounds really interesting. When you said energies, you had me there.
Yeah. It's absolutely fascinating, in my humble opinion. As I say, I came from a background working in medical surgery, so to go from that to a very much more holistic point of view is,
you'd love it, Paris. I was at my reflexologist yesterday, and it's literally like they're opening, like they can read your body, they can know exactly what's going on. She's like, oh, have you got lower back pain? Just on the left hand side. And I was like, yeah. Like, oh, that will make it better, that will do this. Oh yeah, lovely.
Yeah. No, I enjoy it, I must say. So it's just expanding it somewhere, but I don't quite know where yet. So that's my chore to myself. So
wonderful.
Okay.
It sounds amazing, Debbie. And it's so nice, isn't it, to realise you want to add a sort of string to your bow, but you don't know what it is. It's exciting. So your eyes are open and you're exploring.
That's exactly it. You've put it much more eloquently than I had. It is really adding a string, and I just don't quite know what the string is yet, but it's coming. So watch this.
No, it's lovely. It's adding to your skill set. Obviously, like Vicky's just been doing that, saying with her yoga. So yeah, you just, as you grow and evolve, you find you want to change. It's exciting. I look forward to hearing what you find.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
Nicola, do you want to see if we can hear you? Sorry, you've had to wait ages now. Oh no.
Ah.
Try one more time to talk. Unless you comment on your phone. We all want to hear what your thing is now. Chrissy, while she's working out how to not be a mute, how about you? Nice to see you, by the way.
Yeah, sorry guys, I've just not been around so much. I'm in bed. I'm not feeling 100% today actually, but I wanted to join because I remembered for a start. Yeah, I suppose I'm a little bit different to him, and I've still not quite got my shizzle together and got going. I spent most of the beginning of the year just really questioning what's my purpose, what should I be doing. I'm a trained hypnobirthing teacher, but I've never really launched a business as such. I'm not interested in social media at all. I like seeing what everyone does and I enjoy that, but for me right now it's not going to probably happen. I'm totally burnt out and overwhelmed with just general work. So I've been trying to shift that mindset and to try and survive a bit, really. I've got 2 little ones. I'm 5 years in with being woken up 4 or 5 times every night, so I'm just burnt out, but that's okay, and I've realized that's okay, and I'm not. Whereas before I was constantly, really struggling with, I want to do something, but I can't do it. Now I've just come at ease with that, and I've realized it's just not the right time for me, and that's fine. I still teach, I still do bits and bobs. I'm also a trained reflexologist as well. I do want to do the 3-step rewind, Linda, because I've always wanted to do it. And now we've started doing more sessions. I might do it in January, and that might be something I push forward because I'm really interested in hypnotherapy as well as a thing, not necessarily hypnobirthing specifically. But so I'm a little bit not sure where I'm going, but that's okay for now, because right now I just need to survive for a bit longer, and there's always going to be birthing people, so it's not necessarily an issue. I mean, I suppose I have turned my mindset around a little bit the last week with work. I almost resigned the week before because it was just becoming ridiculous, but then the reality of having no income is more stressful than having an income. I've just got to put different boundaries in, so I'm working on setting my boundaries and learning to become a recovering perfectionist, I suppose, and stop the shame cycle of what perfection means. And I've been doing lots of reading, lots of listening, a few courses here and there. So everything's good. It's good. It's just I'm not necessarily moving the business forward, but that's okay for now, I suppose.
Totally. Sorry, Linda. I was just going to say, like, what I'm hearing, you're very self-aware. You know exactly what's going on for you in your life. And I always say we go through different seasons in our life, and this is your current season. And I think at the moment it's just kind of encouraging you to be still and really sit with your thoughts and think about what it is that you want to do next. So really embrace it, because the next season is going to be action mode. So when I go into that season of stillness, I really embrace it and think about, what am I doing? What's going to make me happy and what can wait? And really starting to compartmentalize certain things in my life. And you've said it perfectly. Business can wait. Right now, I need to make sure that I'm nurturing myself and nurturing my family. And I think you're doing an amazing job at it, because you know exactly what the steps are.
Oh, thanks. I like that. I like that season of stillness, Paris, and that's really great. I'm a cell biologist in my background as well, so senescence is a really important part of all kind of development. So I never thought of it that way actually, but it has been quite a big turning point, because I've just constantly been berating myself for not moving it forward, because I want to do this, but then I question, do I want to do this? But actually right now, it's not what I need to be thinking about. I need to think about trying to get some kind of sleep and some kind of holistic wellness for me. So, but everything's good. I'm just tired. I'm just so tired all the time.
You're doing amazing.
I'm in massive admiration of you, Chrissy. Like, you've managed to train to do all those things while having practically no sleep ever and working full time. It's just like, honestly, absolutely incredible. So yeah.
Oh, thanks. That's so kind of you, Linda. I adore you, and I love seeing what everybody's doing. And I do still follow everybody, but I'm a bit more not in the shadow land of myself, but I'm definitely in the shadows at the minute. But I'm not sure if I'm fully settled with generally just social media. So maybe, you know, running my own business that needs to be pushed around that kind of thing isn't what's right for me. And I'm coming, you know, I'm trying to think of different ways around it. And there are lots of ways around still to run a business without needing to engage in it. So, you know, I think if I had more time, I'd probably change my mind. But at the minute, it's about time, isn't it? Anyway, thanks, guys.
Nicola, tentatively.
If not, I don't think we've heard from Hirel, have we?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yay.
I feel like this is going to be really disappointing now that I've got the big finale and it's not going to be. Okay, what I did write down is that I promised to keep saying yes to scary things, which has always been my mindset since I turned 40. But just recently, I've just had to say no. And it's okay to say no, because it's not logistically possible for there to be 10 of me when there is only one of me who is doing everything. But what I actually do want to do in the next 3 months, and I keep putting this off and I keep putting it off for a long time, is to go to places where I want my products to be and say, do you want to wholesale me? I've had people approach me before, and that's amazing, that's fantastic, but I've got in my mind where I want the business to go, and it's only me that can get it there. So I am going to be brave, and I'm going to put some bits together, and I'm going to approach some people. I don't know who yet or what yet, but that's what I want to do. I'm going to get the crazy rush of Christmas out of the way, and then that's going to be my next project.
I think that's a great finale.
Oh, thanks.
Action orientated, strength focused, love all of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to hand back to Paris. We have overrun again, haven't we, Paris?
Oh, yeah, we've missed one person, Linda.
Oh, I missed someone. Who I missed?
Wow, did you say yours, Hirel? You did? Oh, okay. Okay.
Photography studio.
I'm done, yeah. So I'm sorry. I did promise myself last time I'm not going to keep you for too long. I'm so sorry. I need to get better. Time management is what I'm working on in the next 3 months.
It's not your fault. It's our fault. We all talk too much, and I can't help but interject constantly. No, you're amazing. You're amazing. So I need to be quiet.
But no, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for coming back, Paris. Thank you so much.
No,